friends, so today we're going to talk about how to improve your ollie. What brought about this idea is because we're here at Stoner Skate Park, or Skate Plaza, that's what it's called. Give me a second to catch my breath. Okay, let's go over here. So we're here at Stoner Skate Plaza, and there's so many different levels of ledges. Like we got this one right here that I just went on. It's like a little over knee height. We got that platform over there, which we have like 8 inches, it seems like. We have one that it's like a foot, 2 feet right there. There's just a lot of different levels, right? And I'm always reminded that once you increase your pop, so many more obstacles become available, and as a result of that, it makes everything so much more fun, right? So using these obstacles, I'm pretty much gonna go over how you can increase your pop with the opportunity that there's so many different obstacles, right? So we're gonna head over there to ollie on the smallest, I guess, ledge we can find. I was like, maybe I could do a straight 8 before. Okay, so basically we have this ledge here and it's super small, and the reason I love it is because there's so much space after that. If you kind of fall forward or get stuck, you're not scared of hitting anything in front, right? Or you're not worried that you might slip back. It's like a flat surface. It's perfect, because in the case you do this, you have like such a flat ground to fall on. Because usually, at least when I was learning how to ollie onto things, what I was scared of is clipping, right? Clipping, because I would have to compensate with speed in hopes that I would get over the ledge, pretty much. So what I like to do when I'm teaching skaters how to improve their ollie is just think about, or what we're looking for is the sound of this snap right here. Look, like that sound. So I'm gonna use a little example. Okay, sorry. Usually they go way slower. You see, since I'm not going with any speed, it's so easy to really just listen for that snap and not get and not allow the fear of like clipping scare us. And so really, as that gets more comfortable, maybe after 10-20 tries, you know, there's no rush, we go on to something bigger, which is like this, right? You would say that's bigger, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So look, because Stoner is such a cool park, there's all these open platforms. We apply that same concept to this, where we just want to hear the snap, right? We don't have to go fast, because if we do clip, all that's going to happen is this. And we might fall off, but it minimizes the risk. So it's super awesome, right? So we'll do that 10-20 times, like I said. See, without so much speed, you reduce the risk of slipping back or just falling forward, and kind of running into impact that you don't really want to expose yourself to, especially if you're learning a new trick, right? So basically, you apply that same concept where you listen for the sound every time, you know, the height that you're ollieing on consistently becomes easy. So for example, if that becomes second nature to me, where I can just ollie on as I'm cruising park, then that's when I do the process I just mentioned on something a little bigger. Because like I said, it just makes things more fun. You open up so much more like options creatively, or not creatively, like ability wise. And so really, once you feel like you're ready for the next step, I also want to help, I guess. Let's see, something I suggest is start increasing the speed when you're ollieing up something like this, the smallest thing, right? The thing you're super comfortable with, the thing you can kind of cruise and not think twice about it, right? And so, but as you're doing that, it's not just about increasing the speed. I also want you to improve the way you engage your whole body, so that way you're snapping the board, but you're also kind of hovering a couple inches over as you ollie on. So there's nothing wrong with like barely going over, you know. You could do that like this. Yeah. You see, like you barely hover over, and that's usually like when you're cruising the park. You see that one? I snapped it a bit more and engaged the body. I was like lower, as if I'm ready to absorb impact. And the reason why I want to start doing that once it becomes super easy is because when I go to the next biggest thing, it's not such a challenge to engage the whole body, right? And obviously, like, not obviously, but as you go to something bigger, it's the same concept. The only difference is that it just seems higher, because as you approach the ledge, you know, and you squat down, everything gets a little higher, right? Because when you're standing next to it, compared to eye level, it's shorter. But when you get lower and engage your body, it just seems so much more intimidating. Or at least that's what I, you know, experienced whenever I tried ollieing up that years ago, or up the Santa Monica courthouse. Just some examples for the spots. But usually that process works until you start getting, I want to say, like a little lower than that, right? Like you really have to make sure that you're warmed up, and that you've been doing it for a while. Otherwise, it's gonna be so much harder to really think about that snap. By the time you get to something that high, you should really already have the snap with, like, subconsciously or intuitively. I would say, like, you don't have to think about hearing that snap when you're going. It's more about the feeling it, right? So making sure that you feel springy. And so something that helps me practice ollieing on things higher is simply flat ground ollies, but trying to kind of hold it, like float it, is something I've heard that I really like. Floating, right? So don't rush landing on the ground, right? This is me rushing landing on the ground, like, you know, just straightening out. I stomped it very not exactly like that, like I exaggerated it, right? I'm engaged on the way up, but as soon as I ollie, I'm just like letting the disengagement lead, right? Versus something like this, where I'm always engaged throughout the whole ollie. And that really helps because it kind of gives you a good sense for how you have to hold your body, your body's tension, right? Because the last thing you want to do is do an ollie and then give out here and not be able to hold this angle. And that's when you run into troubles of clipping, staying over the back foot, because you're like kind of reaching as opposed to staying right over the board, right? And so that, which brings us to the next thing, making sure as you're ollieing things, you're over your front foot. This is super important because as you go higher and higher, landing on the back foot is going to expose how hard it is to, how would I say, how comfortable you are leaning over that back foot, which isn't necessarily a good thing, because when you go and are leaning over the back foot and you're barely making it over, it's so easy to keep slipping back, right? So to break that habit on these smaller obstacles, you really want to make sure that when you're ollieing, your weight is centered over your front foot, and you also stay over that front foot as well. All right, so an example, you can even stand right here. You can stand right here, and you guys take note of how my weight is placed, right? I'm gonna give you one over the front foot, one over the back foot. And watch, you can land both ways. The thing is, one reduces the risk of slipping back, right? It's much safer to kind of not be able to have take the impact and fall forward than not take the impact and slip back.
Also, I think the one allows you to set up for the next trick way more easier.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what Brian's saying is one allows you to make sure you're ready for the next trick if you're doing something in a line or even a mani. Basically being able to set up for another trick. But right now, we're just talking about how as you progress and and try to go higher and higher, if you're leaned over that back foot, it's a less efficient. Over the front foot, right? Now over the back foot. So, like I said, you can land both of them, but the landing over your back foot is just so much more risk slipping back once you take it onto higher ollie. So the reason why I'm emphasizing this is because you really want to stress being over that front foot as you're passing these levels, if you want to call them that, right? Level 1, level 2, and then maybe, I don't know, there's like 4 levels here. Yeah, level 1, 2, and then 3 right here, going up this way, and then 4th could be that one. But then there's a lot of other ledges in between, so you can play around with that. It's actually a good way you can practice if you're at stoner, staying over that front foot, is ollieing onto this obstacle right here. Because if you land on your back foot, it's gonna be so apparent that you're gonna slip back, right? Whereas if you land too heavy over the front foot, the impact is just gonna sink you into the obstacle. So you practicing just ollies onto that is really gonna help you understand why it's important to stay over that front foot when you're doing ollies onto things, right? So of course this also applies when you're ollieing off of stuff, but here is really just talking about why it matters when you're ollieing onto things. So which leads me into the next point, which something, believe it or not, that can help you get more snap on your board is ollieing or even riding off stuff that are higher impact. So I know, from experience, students aren't comfortable ollieing off of higher drops, but they have no problem riding out. And I strongly suggest, damn, the sun's hitting me, so I strongly suggest doing that because it builds the strength and that resistance in your tendons, your foot muscles. We can call them bones just to simplify everything. It builds that resilience, the resistance, that springy ability that you build as a byproduct of skating impact, right? So because you'll get so used to kind of absorbing that impact, you hold so much more. You're basically building your spring as you ride off bigger impacts, right? So just because you can't ollie off of something maybe that high, you go that one. Or for me, it would be something like that over there that I could ollie off, but I'd be hesitant to. I'd encourage myself and you guys to still ride off of these obstacles so that you can build that strength in your tendons, your bones, and ligaments, so that when you take or when you're doing ollies onto things, you just have more of that spring that we're talking about. How much time do you have? 14. Damn, that sun is messing me up. I should have worn my sunglasses.
Come over there.
No, these are too dark. Okay, cool. So we covered taking it step by step, making sure you're over that front foot, making sure that you hear that snap, and also being open to, it's okay, we're good. Also being open to absorbing impact, like learning how to absorb impact. And similarly to how you have to stay over the front foot when you're going onto something, it's the same concept could apply when you're going off of stuff, right, to absorb impact. But having said that, I'm pretty sure if you apply these things, your pop will increase, especially if you're a beginner skateboarder, because that's really when it's best to slowly adapt to the impact and obstacles we want to see ourselves skating in the future, right? Like, and what I mean by that is, if you know, if you know, or if skating certain heights or certain drops interests you, you might not be ready to do kickflip or tray flip or whatever it is onto things and off, but you can at the very least expose yourself to those pressures that your body's gonna encounter later on, right? Little by little, exposure therapy in increments. But yeah, having said that, I hope you guys are watching this video. We had a video like three uploads ago. I did very good, so hyped on that. And just want to say, oh, these display shoes. Yeah, look at these display shoes. Check them out. I'm forgetting how to outro these things. If you're interested in skating them, I got something on the link or in the description below. And yeah, hope you have just restart everything because of that. Hope you guys have a great day and come skate Stone. It's a sick park. My recommendation is watch out where you're going because it can get pretty busy. Yeah, have a great day. Lights.